Hello, science enthusiasts. I'm Jason Zakowski.
And I'm Chris Sikowski.
We're the pet parents of Bunsen, Beaker, Bernoulli, and Ginger.
The science animals on social media.
If you love science
and you love pets,
you've come to the right spot. So put on your safety glasses
and hold on to your tail.
This is the Science Podcast. Hi, welcome back to the Science Podcast. We hope you're happy and healthy out there. This is episode 8 of season 8. Wow, 8-8, Chris.
8-8. Who do we appreciate?
So we've been away for another 2 weeks. We both got crazy sick last week with a really stuffed nose and a terrible cough. I was out for about a week, and then you got sick just as I was starting to feel better. So again, the podcast has been delayed because of illness, but we're back. We're stronger than ever, or maybe not.
We still have a lingering cough, but you know what? I'm looking forward to feeling healthy for summer.
Well, summer's just right around the corner.
Unless you live in Alberta, it was threatening snow on May long weekend for us, and you never know when you need to put your snow tires back on. But I'm hopeful that summer is here.
Let's get to the show. In science news, we're going to talk about that hantavirus outbreak on the cruise ship and some new developments. And in pet science, we're going to break down another study that looked if the presence of dogs can reduce stress responses in humans. Our guest in Ask an Expert is a very interesting one, Chris. We were approached by the agent for a guy named Matt Koff. And Matt Koff is one of the writers for The Daily Show, which is an American, I guess it's like political satirical show. The best way. Matt Koff is one of the comedy writers, and he has a comedy special coming out called Catman. It's on YouTube. Now, the special is very funny, but it is not appropriate for children. So just full disclosure there. The interview is with Matt Koff. You'll probably find him very funny and self-depreciating, but his YouTube special, his comedy special, not for children. So just take that as a warning. All right. There's no time like
science time.
This week in science news, we're going to talk about the hantavirus outbreak on the cruise ship MV Hondius, which occurred off the coast of Africa. Chris, did you hear about this in the news?
I sure did. And there was a lot of concerns about the hantavirus and the infected people and potential contamination of other people getting sick from this. And I was reading more about it for sure.
Now, it's a bit of the story of the cruise ship is a bit older. So we're just going to go through it for folks that maybe missed it because it's a big deal. When the story broke, 2 passengers were confirmed to have hantavirus infections. And there was a British passenger who was evacuated to South Africa and a Dutch woman who unfortunately did die on board the ship. Another person experienced mild fever symptoms, but later recovered. So the WHO categorized that person as a suspected case, bringing, by the end of the story, total possible cases to 7. The bigger question is, why is hantavirus such a big deal?
The hantavirus and the infections caused by hantavirus are rare, but they are dangerous. And scientists definitely emphasize that there's no current vaccine existing in the world today, and there's no cure additionally. And unfortunately, fatality rates can be very high. So hantavirus makes major headlines because the severe cases can be dramatic and deadly, although the immune system can fight off the hantavirus. It's actually a large group of viruses, the hantavirus. It's not a single virus, and there's more than 50 known hantavirus types. So when I think about cleaning out the shop or the garage, I'm always very cautious because these hantavirus naturally infect rodents or moles and some bats. And humans actually can be accidental hosts. It's, I'm cleaning the garage and, accidentally, I'm now having the hantavirus. But there's different strains of the hantavirus and they exist worldwide.
It's a bit of dark humor, but it's a joke. I guess it's a dark humor joke that we make all the time. If we're cleaning out something that's been outside And we always say, don't get hantavirus from it, which maybe is in bad taste because people do die from hantavirus, but it's something that we know about because we live in rural Alberta. There have been cases of hantavirus around us, but it's very rare. I was worried when I was coughing so much last week or week and a half ago, that terrible cough. I was like, oh my God, I've got hantavirus because I had cleaned out the mower and blew all that dust and grass everywhere. And who knows if there was like some mouse feces in there, because that's generally how humans can catch it. We get hantavirus from inhaling aerosols. We get hantavirus from inhaling airborne particles from rodent urine, rodent poop, feces, and sometimes their saliva. So cleaning enclosed areas and vacuuming, because you're blowing dust everywhere, and sweeping are really how you get it. And I was definitely blowing dust everywhere with an air compressor, cleaning out all the dead grass on the mower. I probably should have been wearing a mask.
In fact, that's what I said when you came back into the house.
You did.
Were you wearing a mask? And you said no. And then you were coughing very badly.
Yeah.
Spreading those virus particles into the house that weren't hantavirus. They were another virus.
Yeah. Anyway, so hantaviruses are an RNA virus. You mentioned there's lots of different types. The virus will get into your lungs when you inhale it, and then proteins attached to your proteins, the viral proteins attached to your human proteins, and the cell basically eats the virus. It turns it into something called an endosome, and then the endosome activates viral proteins. And that's the whole mechanism, is it gets inside your cell and your cell basically switches the virus on, and that viral RNA enters the cell and hijacks the cell's machinery to spit out more and more viruses.
So just be cautious when you're cleaning up in areas that rodents could have been. But human-to-human transmission is also possible, although it is extremely rare. Only the Hondius virus has strong evidence for person-to-person transmission. Mm-hmm. And some epidemiologists have reviewed cases in Chile and Argentina. But the evidence showed that transmission usually required very close contact between people. So casual contact rarely spreads the virus. It's intimate contact. And the experts did believe that the large-scale transmission aboard the ship would have been unlikely because only a few people became sick, and a highly contagious virus, of course, would infect more passengers.
So it's hard to get it from human to human, is what the end result was. The WHO wasn't super concerned that the whole ship would become this big contaminant problem. If you're worried that you have the hantavirus, because you might be like me, you get some early symptoms of a flu. So you get chills and a fever, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And then if things progress, the very severe part of that, it can attack your lungs. So you get this really bad cough and respiratory failure. And that's why I was so worried about coughing so bad.
Yeah. But it was so contagious that I caught it from you. So I knew then it maybe wasn't the hantavirus. It was something else. It was something that was very catchy.
Do they know why or how it got on the ship in the first place?
Yeah, they have a few theories. Theory number 1, rodents on the ship. So rats or other rodents may have already been aboard, and their droppings may have contaminated areas of the ship. And of course, those cleaning activities could have created that airborne aerosol that people would breathe in. Another theory is that passengers were infected before they got on board. And the reason they predicted this or thought this is because the hantavirus symptoms can actually take 1 to 8 weeks to appear. And the cruise began about 3 weeks earlier in Argentina. And because it was bird watching or bird enthusiast enthusiast trip, they did do some wildlife excursions and they did do some land travel in areas that have the hantavirus. So the Dutch couple that you mentioned before, unfortunately who passed away, they may have been infected during an Argentinian wildlife excursion before they boarded.
So a couple quick takeaways, if you want the conclusion, is these outbreaks are really rare. Hantavirus does have a high mortality rate, but its human-to-human transmission is very limited. Most people do get it from rodent exposure. It does make for a sensational story because sadly somebody did die. Now, the update, Chris, on this, as we were going to do this story last week, but we couldn't do the podcast, a passenger who was from the Yukon, BC, did test positive for hantavirus after returning to Canada and is currently being isolated in Victoria, British Columbia. The Canadian officials say that this person is stable and not looking like they're going to get into a bad way with it, and that any kind of exposure to the public is very low because transmission from person to person is not easy, and isolation methods were taken immediately. And then for our friends in America, 18 passengers who were possibly suspected of having hantavirus, they were transferred to the University of Nebraska. And some of those patients may remain under observation for 42 days because that is the entire incubation window. So that kind of sucks that the incubation window is so big for hantavirus.
And the quick response of epidemiologists, they did think it maybe was norovirus or another type of virus that they tested the passengers for. And then they had to do some quick thinking, like what else could it possibly be? And that quick response time and the testing and getting the results back led to other measures such as the quarantine and isolation measures. That's super important for exposure and risk and other types of zoonotic diseases. So kudos to all involved. Sorry for the hantavirus outbreak.
And maybe if you're going to clean off your mower after it's been sitting in the shop, wear a mask.
Maybe.
That's science news for this week. This week in pet science, we've got a study that is a corroboration or another piece of the puzzle with how important dogs can be to help reduce stress responses in humans during stressful situations. You notice that when you're a little stressed out with Bernoulli, the two of you guys glom onto each other, Chris.
That could be observation and anecdotal evidence, which we know is not evidence, but because he is a stage 5 clinger regardless. And we've been experiencing a lot of stress in our home. We've spoken on the podcast before about family being ill and us being very worried about their health. And I think the dogs, I know the dogs respond to that and their senses are heightened. And I think they're more on alert. But Bernoulli, of course, is a stage 5 clinger. It doesn't matter where I'm going. He plunks himself right outside where I am. If I am getting changed in my room and I've closed the door, I open the door and, oh, there you are. Hello. It doesn't matter. But you know what? He's such a lovable dog. And I really appreciate having him around, and Beaker and of course Bunsen, because they definitely, anecdotally, I can say they reduce my stress.
So this is a meta-analysis which calculated the pooled effect size for how dogs' presence affects stress reactivity. Now, this may sound like a study we've talked about before, and it is because there's a lot of studies looking at that to get dogs into schools, to hospitals, prisons, any place where the stress level is high and that an animal could potentially lower it. So the researchers looked at several physiological and psychological stress indicators. Physiological measures were diastolic blood pressure, systolic blood pressure, cortisol levels, and heart rate. And remember, cortisol, as we mentioned before, is a major stress hormone. They also asked people in a self-reported survey about their own stress and their own anxiety. So yes, we've talked about something similar to this, I'm sure, last year, but it's still fun to talk about it again because there's still data coming out about this. And maybe this is some a little bit different information. What were some of the main findings?
The main findings did show that dogs reduced heart rate reactivity. So the presence of a dog during stressful tasks was associated with a lower heart rate. Lower heart rate increases during that stress period. So the interpretation was that dogs definitely help participants stay physiologically calmer. The second main finding is that dogs reduce self-reported stress and anxiety. Participants definitely reported feeling less stressed and less anxious. And that was one of the strongest findings in the study. What they did find as well was things that were not significant. So the diastolic blood pressure and your systolic blood pressure and your cortisol reactivity all were not consistently reduced, or there was no significant overall effect on those three measures. This suggests that dog-related stress buffering may affect some people and some of your bodily systems more than others.
So I think that's why it was interesting to talk about this study, Chris, because it found that heart rate definitely was kept more calm, and overwhelmingly people said like they felt less stressed and anxious. But with some of the physiological tests, like your blood pressure and cortisol levels, there didn't seem to be any kind of like protective shell there. So
weren't we gonna do our own kind of study with my blood pressure machine?
Yeah,
I thought we were.
Yeah,
we were thinking about that.
Sample size of 1, Chris.
2, you, me, maybe Adam, when he was back at home. Sample size of 3. And then what that would have shown to the world is that my blood pressure is high. And they would have been like, whoa, you have high blood pressure. And the answer is, I know.
I do get the self-reporting. Like if I've had we do have stressful jobs as teachers, so I'm not going to lie that some days aren't stressful, because they are. And it's just so calming to sit with a dog. Bernoulli's a goober, Beaker's cuddly, Bunsen is so friendly. Even Bricks, like a cat, like Bricks is calming. He's a cuddly guy. So I would definitely report feeling less stress. To wrap up this section, in the study, the presence of a dog appears to buffer or reduce acute stress. So that's like stress that's happening right now, but perhaps doesn't buffer against long-term stress, which cortisol levels going up and down may show. So that's interesting that it's more in the now rather than in the future.
Now, of course, as more research takes place, we think about ideas for future research and going in a direction and areas to explore. So one of those could be, the biological mechanism behind dog-related stress reduction. What is the biological marker there? Is it touching dogs or simply seeing dogs? Is it an emotional attachment or a familiarity with the dog? Does dog behavior impact stress reduction or influence those stress buffering effects? And one thing is looking at long-term versus short-term stress effects on the body and with that dog-human relationship. And what are the differences between having a dog that's a pet, like our dogs, or therapy dogs or service dogs? Is there a difference? And what are, to an area to research could be individual differences in human responses to dogs, whether they are fearful or accepting or loving of dogs.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Some people like us, like we love dogs. We are dog people. And some people are kind of meh to dogs, take it or leave it. And some people do not like dogs. So yeah, that individual response would be interesting as well. That's Pet Science for this week. It's time for Ask an Expert on the Science podcast. And we have a really fun guest for you today. His name is Matt Koff, and he is an American comedian and an Emmy-winning writer for The Daily Show with a new comedy special coming out called Catman. So not an expert in the science realm, but maybe the making people laugh realm. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you. This is a really fun, totally different interview than we normally do on the show. But where are you in the world? Where are you calling into the show from?
I live in Brooklyn, New York. Funny, my cat just jumped onto the table. We're already on theme. Yeah, I'm in Park Slope, Brooklyn. How about you?
I am Canadian, so you were talking to me. I'm in the middle of Alberta, Canada. On
Oh,
a farm.
nice. I love Canada. I love the Kids in the Hall. I love the Tragically Hip. I love the Rio
Oh,
Statics. I love John Candy.
love John Candy too. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
thanks for your stuff. Thanks for making all that.
Thanks for
all good.
sending our comedians down to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's seamless for comedy. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's a theory about that. A couple of Canadian comics have that because our winters are so long and hard. It's the only way you can keep yourself from going crazy is you try to make everybody laugh. So,
Oh, yeah. But how come Russians aren't funny? That's what I want to know. Just kidding. I'm half Russian. But then again, comedy's subjective, so maybe I'm not funny. I don't know. You'll have to watch the special to find out. But yeah, I don't know why. Canadians are funny. It's the beer. I'm sure the beer doesn't hurt.
and in mortal danger around every corner with the wildlife that lives here.
Exactly.
Sometimes
And you have an animal called a moose, so that's pretty funny.
they look pretty goofy too.
I'm here in Brooklyn, which is where the Daily Show is. Oh no, sorry, it's in New York. It's in New York City, and yeah.
So my wife and I do watch clips of the Daily Show, and adjacent to that, you have this really big comedy show that's coming out. Congratulations, called Catman. Would little Matt in middle school be surprised that what you're doing as a comedy writer and comedian and stand-up comedy?
I think little Matt would be happy that I was a comedy writer because little Matt loved to write. Little Matt was very shy and definitely not a performer.
Oh,
so
interesting. Okay.
Little Matt would be shocked at what Big Matt is doing.
But you like to write when you were younger? You were a writer?
Yeah, I did. I drew a lot. I did comic strips and I would write funny stories, and creative writing was my favorite class.
Oh, cool.
So I loved to write. And then somewhere along the line, it was college. I joined a band called Monk Trouble, a freeform jazz band where I improvised lyrics. And so I got the performing bug then. I stopped doing any kind of music, but I did continue comedy. Yeah. So yeah, I do think about that though. I really did not, I expected nothing from life. So I'm pretty happy.
So you're not the stereotypical comedian who was once a class clown. Like that's not your origin story.
No, I was not a clown, but I did have well-timed comments.
Oh, okay.
Just like in the writer's room for the Daily Show, there are people who just are funny and talk all the time. Then there's people like me who had to think about what they say before, but I'm not constantly on. In fact, I was the runner-up for class funniest, but I did lose to one of those class clown type people, Paul Rabibero. I don't know if he listens. Probably not. He became a police officer and he hunts deer. But that's what the class of 2000 wanted from their comedians. They didn't want just a guy who thought of jokes. Yeah. Funny how where people end up in life.
How long have you been writing for The Daily Show? That's a fairly big deal. It's definitely like a satirical political thing in the States, but we know about it in Canada. We know who Jon Stewart is.
Oh, you do? Okay. I never know who knows what.
Yeah.
Do you have your own equivalent of The Daily Show in Canada? I should probably know that.
We have a program on the CBC that the closest thing I can explain to, it's called This Hour Has 22 Minutes.
Okay, I've heard of that.
It's like a mixture of The Daily Show and Saturday Night Live, but it's very Canadian. So
okay.
There you go.
Great. Perfect. Yeah, I've been there for about coming up on 13 years. That's a really long time. And I got to write for Jon Stewart. I got to write for Trevor Noah. And then there was a whole cavalcade of hosts. And now Jon Stewart's back. And so I write for him and the rest of the in-house hosts.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a lot of fun. But it's a cool job. Sometimes I forget because I do it every day. I forget how cool it is, but it is pretty cool. And yeah, it's weird. It's weird to have a really cool job for a long time. It's not, I'm very happy with it, but you lose perspective. You're like, oh, I got to do this again today.
Yeah, it's a grind, and other people would be just like gab smuck. That's what you do for your daily work.
Exactly. And I'm like, of all the jobs that there are, this has to be like it might be the best job It's the best job I can think of. Certainly, if I were a chocoholic, maybe candy tester might be the better one. But then you have the inherent health risks of that. So
Yeah.
I think this is better than candy tester, personally. What would your dream job be if you could just do anything at all?
I don't know. I mentioned before I'm a classroom teacher. I teach high school chemistry. I really like my job. I wake up every morning and I'm excited to go to work. I tell people that.
You don't have to. You can tell me. It's okay. What's your? No, I'm just kidding.
I had a lot of fun
really
today.
Cool.
My high school kids were screwing up in a lab and I was roasting them and I made memes and we were all laughing. It was great. Nobody got hurt. We learned some chemistry. It was great.
That's amazing. That is a risk, though, in chemistry that somebody will get hurt. Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I made thermite today. It could have gone badly and I wouldn't be here.
Okay. I'm glad it worked out. My goodness.
No, I do love dogs and cats. A dream job, if I had enough money, would be some kind of animal husbandry with that, like a shelter or something like that, where I could help.
Oh, I've thought of that too. I think that would be up there for me too. Yeah, I don't know if there would be like feces involved. There's obviously a reality that you're not really thinking about. And there's probably a lot of feces. So that's probably will keep me from, if I even read a quick AI description about what that entails, animal sanctuary, I probably would not want to do it. But
a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll save the animals, but then it's like being an uncle. Yeah.
I do have one more question about the Daily Show, and maybe it's just because I'm curious. I've listened to, for example, Conan O'Brien is one of my favorite comedians that's American, and he has a podcast that I listen to, and he talks about the time when the writers would come in and pitch him jokes. And that's my question to you is like, how much of Jon Stewart doing stuff on the Daily Show, for example, or Trevor Noah, is the jokes of the writers versus the jokes of that very accomplished comedian and presenter?
It varies. It varies. Okay. But I would say it's really hard to know, but it is always a collaboration. And it's like, you can think of it was once explained to me like, say, the Daily Show is a newspaper and Jon Stewart or whoever is hosting is the editor-in-chief. So a lot of what the editor-in-chief does, a lot of them, he'll see a headline, he'll be like, we can't do that, we have to rewrite that headline. But there is a base amount of work. Sometimes the idea comes from John himself, the whole idea of what we're executing. Sometimes a writer like myself will pitch an idea and then we'll do that. But so the idea for the show, for any given show, comes from different places. But it's really just we're creating a series of drafts throughout the day. And a lot of the drafts come from the writers. There's different tiers of writers. There's the staff writers, the head writers, and then there's John. And so it's just like the whole thing gets circulated through the ecosystem. Everybody keeps adding to things. And then a lot of times, the very last minute, John will just rewrite everything. So a lot of it definitely comes to him. If he doesn't want to say it, it won't get said.
Touche. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that must give you a lot of job satisfaction because it's comedy, and we'll get into your special right away here. It's making people laugh, and laughter is joyful.
So not that I do it, but what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have a very weepy laugh. No, sorry. I railroaded your question.
No, I was just like, does it give you job satisfaction when you nail a joke and it lands and people think it's funny? Does that laughter fill your cup?
Oh, does it fill my cup? Yeah, for a minute.
Okay.
My cup doesn't stay full for very long. I don't know why. There's something wrong with me. Unfortunately, you're not a psychiatrist, but or analyst. But yeah, no, it is very satisfying. But I kind of have a brain where maybe it is just, I don't know, New York or something. It's always like a what next thing. So I find it very satisfying. But then immediately after, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'll think of anything that funny again. And then the anxiety spiral continues. So I guess it's how you stay productive. It may not be how you stay happy, but that's it. But it's, and also I've been doing it very long. Like when I was starting, granted, I've been there a very long time. When I was starting, I'm sure it would my cup would be filled. Yeah, I might have 2 cups full back in the day. Now, if I can just get just a little spritz in a cup, that's good.
You just need a sip. You just need a sip. That's all.
Yeah. The thing is, that is part of the reason I do stand up too, because a lot. I mean, are you talking about a joke on the Daily Show getting a laugh, or like a joke that I tell?
Yeah, just comedy in general. Like I teach, and when I nail a joke with the kids, like of course, like some of my jokes are not. I'm not a professional comedian, but I do have some things that makes the class laugh,
That's
and
great.
that makes a really good bond between them and me, and it gets.
Is it a stock line, or do you have a whole vignette planned? Usually,
I storytell.
Oh, great. Yeah. No, sorry. I thought you were asking about writing a joke that for somebody else that gets a laugh. Certainly, if you're telling the joke and you get to laugh, then it is more, yes, that fills your cup more. Say you're in a meeting at work and we're riffing with the host or something, you get a laugh and make the host laugh. That's great. That'll fill your cup for a day. Yeah. And as far as stand-up goes, killing early on, you're like, if you've never done stand-up before and then you're doing it, it's wow, this is just absolutely amazing. You feel like a wizard. And then you get a little bit older and more seasoned, and then you're like, okay, I know that I know how to make people laugh, but can I make them laugh really hard? Some people, I know how to do it. Maybe I'm basically competent, but am I really good? So you start out feeling really good. Oh my God, I've got any laughs. And then you're like, but I want more laughs. And then that takes years and years. And where I'm at now is that I can tell old jokes and do really well and feel nothing. But if I have a new joke that's untested, so there's more danger and it works, that's where I get probably, I would say, the most satisfaction, a new stand-up joke.
That's so fascinating. I appreciate you sharing a bit of this with me. I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a whole. So. Yeah, I do feel, I know this is a science podcast, but I do feel like I kind of always wanted to be a scientist ever since I saw Back to the Future and Goonies and all that. And comedy, obviously not science, and yet it is in many ways science, because what makes people laugh is so exact. And you could tell a joke and maybe just the slightest thing is different. Maybe the lighting is, you know what I mean? There's so many different factors to getting a laugh. And it's delivery, it's content, it's wording. You can just shave off a syllable, and that will be the difference between a huge laugh and no laugh. And that is what is interesting to me. You have a joke that works okay for years and years. You make a tweak or two, and then it's just the best joke. And I don't mean to oversell my special, but that's most of my special, I would say, is very refined jokes. Hopefully it doesn't seem like there's a lot of effort put in, but of course there is.
A lot of hard work. So your new comedy special is called Catman, and we are speaking right now on May 5th. It's not out yet. Is that correct? Like it's out in a week or so? 2 weeks?
It's out on May 15th. Premieres on YouTube at Matt Koff Hello. That's my channel. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, YouTube. It's called Catman. Matt Koff, Koff. I don't know if, you guys are big spellers. Yeah, my name, I mean, science podcast, you'd probably think my last name is Cough. But no,
No. Koff. Gotcha.
Koff.
Yeah, we'll have a link to, I think it's just on standby on YouTube. I checked it out. But Matt, what's the special about? I know you don't want to give away all the jokes, but
I'd happily give away each and every joke right now. How much time do you have? The special is about a man with a cat, essentially. Yes, that is a cat man. And no, it's about the societal bias against men with cats. It's about love. It's about loss. It's about my time writing for the Newlywed Game. And I complain about my mom a lot. It's pretty funny. I did it with, I created the special with some of my coworkers at the Daily Show, so it just looks really good. I know that's not what you asked about, but I'm excited about how it looks. Yeah. But I'm very proud of the special. There's some celebrity cameos in it, maybe just one. And it's very economical special, meaning that it's 40 minutes long, not an hour, because I think I needed 40 minutes to accomplish what I did. And I don't know. For some reason, I'm sounding like Bernie Sanders while trying to promote my podcast, but I think we accomplished what we set out to do. I'm not an impressionist. But I'm pretty proud of it. And it's just mostly just silly jokes. I'll be honest. It's just ridiculous.
So having a whole special that revolves around mostly cats.
I would say maybe 50% cat content.
Okay, gotcha.
No, there's also just stuff about my personal life, maybe TMI. There's a couple of sex jokes. am I allowed to say sex?
Yeah, you can. It's okay.
Okay. There's a couple of, let's just say, making love jokes. I don't want to offend anyone. I don't
Gotcha.
know. People in America, in the States, we're very weird about sex. So I try to say making love instead of sex, which is not always appropriate, but for the situation. But yeah, it's about, and I will say it's not just about cats. It's mostly about my cat and my love for my cat.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily love every cat. I didn't grow up a cat person. I didn't have any pets growing up. This is my first cat and probably my last cat. And
Okay.
I've had her for 13 years. No,
Mm.
wait, 11 years. I've had my job for 13.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just celebrate her adoption day last week. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your cat, because that's one of the reasons people tune into our show is they love the stories about pets.
Okay, I'll tell you my story with my pet. This is my main. First of all, I got a cat because I like cats. They're funny on the internet, but I never expected to just really fall in love with an animal because I never really had a pet. I had a goldfish. I don't know how you fall in love with a goldfish. Maybe you do, but then I imagine it's a short-lived love. No, I got my cat in Brooklyn. It's a Brooklyn cat 11 years ago, and they warned me that she eats fabric. She eats fabric, and that's why another family had given her away. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not really a clothes horse. I buy most of my stuff at Old Navy, maybe Uniqlo if I'm feeling fancy. So I'm like, okay, who cares if she eats some of my track pants from Old Navy? I can just buy another one for $2. So cut to 6 months later, she's eaten the tip of a Nike running glove and needs to go to the hospital because it's clogging up her intestine.
Yeah.
And this cat that I adopted for $100, what a deal, is now going to cost me $3,500. And I don't know what that translates to in Canadian dollars, but
$500,000.
for me, it was a lot of money. What?
$500,000.
$500,000. That is a lot. Wow. You guys have some economic issues. No, so it was a lot. So I was just like, wait a minute. And I'd never had an animal. So it didn't really occur to me that their medical bills could be really expensive. But at that time, I had not necessarily formed the close bond with my cat that I now had. So I'm just like, this is actually a pretty bad investment, this cat. I could get like
ROI.
Yeah, it could be like three iPads I could have gotten instead of this cat. And no, but also the thing that was very scary to me is, but what if she just keeps eating all my clothes and keeps needing operations to get the clothing out of her intestine? So it did happen again. She ate part of a toy and she needed another intestine surgery opening to remove the toy. But I think what they did that second time is they really just opened up her intestine. If she did eat something, it's called pica when you eat things that you're not supposed to as a cat. I think her intestine must have been like, I don't know if it's like lap band surgery or whatever. Oh, no, it's probably the opposite. But it's the opposite of lap band surgery. They open up her stomach so much that I think she could probably just eat, I don't know, a blanket and just poop it out at this point. I have no idea. But also, she's on Prozac because I don't know if that was why she just was like, she has a craving to chew on wool and swallow wool. And I've heard that could either be some sort of digestive issue or a psychological issue. And she does take a little bit of Prozac now every morning. I should say I give it to her. She doesn't just take it. I put it in a pill pocket. And now she doesn't really eat clothing.
Oh, hey, that's a win.
That is a win because I only have so much money for vet bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you rescued her, like the cat's a rescue?
Cat is a rescue, yeah.
Yeah. Was the cat rescued from kitten or from like adult cat?
She was 1.5 years. So she was a pretty young cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a young adult.
Young adult, not a little kitty.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So knowing what the cat's conditions was as a kitten would probably give you a better indication, like if what was causing the pica.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I would have liked to know. You think what would illuminate me if I had known her as a kitten?
Sorry, excuse me. Like the one study we broke down, or my wife and I broke down a couple years ago, with cats that just eat stuff they shouldn't eat, especially clothing. It's genetic. So parents generally did it
Oh,
too.
oh,
And
I,
they usually have a rough go early in life. They've been like weaned very early. So something happened to their mom.
yes.
And then, of course, yeah, there could be neurological, or humans suffer from different mental health issues. Animals do as well. So there could be something a little bit there, and that the Prozac could be helping. So it's just always a bit of an interesting black box when you get a pet that's an adult, because you just don't know. You don't know what their early life was or where they came from.
And I've never met the parents.
Mhm.
I'm sure they're good cats, but yeah, it's interesting. I never really thought about that maybe I could have unlocked the key. I wish I'd known her as a kitten. She's such a cute cat. I'm sure
Aw.
she would have been an even cuter kitten. Yeah. Well, but the reason I didn't get a kitten is because I heard they're a lot more work.
I don't know. We got a kitty in late October named Bricks. He was a little fluff ball guy. Yeah,
That's so
very
cute.
cute. Yeah. Like a kitten is more work than a cat, but
Right.
not
That
not
yes.
yeah, not anywhere near as much work as a puppy. So we have 3 dogs. Yeah, like a cat is so much easier for the most part to deal with than a puppy.
I know myself as pretty lazy and I know what I can't do. I know that I do too much stand up to just be around for a dog. And living in I don't know, it just doesn't seem fair, but a cat's pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do a
I
little bit
don't, I
better
also,
than
I don't feel like I have enough self-esteem to have a dog because they would be loving me more than I love myself. And
Mm.
it would be very confusing. You know what I mean? I would always feel like they were trying to put one over on me or con me in some way. You know what I mean? It's just like this unending affection, like immediately starts as soon as I meet them. The cat warms up to you, so you can trust the cat. But this dog is just, if you met a person who's just super friendly, immediately you'd have your suspicions, wouldn't you?
Oh
I
yeah.
would.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If a cat likes you and if a cat loves you, like you've done something to earn that
Yes,
with the cat.
exactly.
Yeah.
It has been validated. You could really hang your hat on that love, I think.
Yeah. And if you screw it up, you
Not to
don't get
diminish
away.
your. Oh yes, exactly. It's very much on lease. You do not have that love. Each and every day, you continue to earn that love, and if you don't, you will get bitten or scratched.
Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
I've noticed.
Yeah. So some of your special is about the stigma of men having cats or loving cats. Do you get that? Do you get ribbed by some of your friends or your family that you have this cat and you really care for the thing?
Not really, but I do have some friends. I have one friend named Greg, and he was just like, oh, he didn't know that I was a cat guy. And then I expressed it to him, and he was just like, oh. And I'm like, what do you mean, oh? And he's just, oh, I just see you different. And I'm like, what do you mean different? He's like, I don't know, you're just different. And I'm like, okay. And I will say a lot of times when I'm in Manhattan and I'm doing shows, I will say, round of applause if you think that men with cats are weird. In fact, I do that in the special. And there's usually a really resounding round of applause for people thinking that men with cats are weird. So this is this is like a science thing. I
Mhm.
have noticed that the applause is stronger in Manhattan than Brooklyn, where people I think are a little bit more, I don't know, accepting of people. I don't know. But when I say a round of applause, if you think that men with cats are weird, I'm lucky if I get 3 people in Brooklyn to be like, yes, men with cats are weird.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, but I just think that Brooklyn, they're just more chill. I don't know. Or they're like, yeah, you have a cat, so what? But in Manhattan, I'm in clubs, I'm performing for a lot of tourists, so maybe this is the worldwide feeling. I have no idea. I assumed that people like Europeans, which there's a lot of Europeans, I thought they had respect for the cat, but maybe, I don't know. People don't understand the Catman. I think because it's maybe somewhat feminine, maybe, or
Mhm.
cats are feminine, that maybe men who love cats are also I don't really get it. But you've never noticed this kind of weird stigma against cat men?
Yeah, I think a little bit. Yeah, for sure. I grew up only knowing dogs, but I was super allergic to cats. And my wife and our two boys, who are older now and they're out of the house, they love cats. So they were constantly bugging me to get a cat. Can we get a cat? And there's no, Jason will die if we get a cat. And then Prina developed a food that binds to the saliva in cats and takes away some of the proteins that cause that allergic reaction. And
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's called Prina Pro Plan. We're not affiliated. I wish we were. But anyways, yeah. And then my family used the science against me because I talked about it on the podcast. And like, now we can get a cat. You even talked about it on the show. So that's how we got our first cat, Ginger. My son got one, this orange cat who's just beautiful. And when he moved away, he took her. And I did not know how much I missed that cat till she moved out with him. And
yes, that happens, right? The cats are just there.
Yeah.
They're not dogs. So it's not as obvious. Oh my God, what if this? But then you're like, oh my God, that cat was a deep part of you touches the cat.
Yeah, it's huge. It was huge. I didn't realize how sad I would be. My wife was devastated because she just loved this cat. So that's why we adopted this new guy, Bricks. And like Bricks is like a dog. So he is more affectionate than all of the dogs. And he's chosen me to be his person.
Oh, that's so nice. Congratulations.
Since October, I've just had this little guy who's now this bigger cat. And how can you not love them? If a cat is affectionate with you, they're soft and they're cuddly and they purr and they're graceful for the most part. Like they're just cool. But when I tell my colleagues about how much I love my cat and I cuddle with it, they're like, really? What? So I get it.
You know what it is? It's the feminine thing, but I also feel like, especially for a single man with a cat, I feel like there's this association that maybe you're like a serial killer. They're like, oh, a man with a cat, that's weird. What is he up to? There's just cats maybe have a kind of a darkness or sinister edge of their Halloween. You don't see a lot of dogs on Halloween, happy Halloween posters. But I think people I always tell people Jeffrey Dahmer had a dog. He was a dog person. I actually don't know if that's true, but I tell them that to take some of the serial killer stuff off the cat people.
There you go. Put it back on the dog people.
I think so. Hitler, dog person. Okay, that's it.
I have heard that. Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah, no offense. I'm not. You have a cat and a dog. You're okay.
Yeah.
And 3 dogs.
Yeah. Somebody once asked, are you more of a dog person or a cat person? And I would have definitely said dog because I didn't understand cats. I didn't have a relationship with them. And I was wrong. Like I was globally wrong my whole life.
Really? Okay. So you have been turned.
Yeah. How can, like I said,
by Bricks?
Bricks. Yeah. The internet just loves this guy. He's
okay.
He's a white, beautiful cat with blue eyes.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
maybe this would be the cat that Hitler loved. Who knows?
Okay. He's not blonde, so he's got that.
Not yet. That's where you go to cattoupees.com. You create the final solution for a cat. I'm sorry, this is probably inappropriate.
No, we're gonna get suggestions now for what Bricks should wear because he wears hats. Anyways,
great. I can think of one hat, but whatever. Yeah, congratulations on having a new cat bond. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be talking to you about your cat, but that's one of the things that drew me to your story was I probably would have been a Judgy McJudson before about you, right? Oh, I got a cat. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, who is this weird guy with a cat?
And now I get
the thing we understand. Yeah, I don't know, but evolutionarily, I would really love to know what this, because it just seems like a deeply rooted thing where people are like, a man with a cat? A woman with a cat? Sure. A grandma with a cat? Perfect. We love a grandma. You see a grandma and who doesn't have a cat, you're like, what's up with this grandma, right? But it's quite the opposite. I just don't know why grandmas get to enjoy cats stigma-free, Angela Lansbury, whatever it is, and somebody like me, Matt Koff, can't just have a cat in peace without people being like, cats are beautiful. I don't know. But yeah, I would like an evolutionist, if that's what you call it, to look into where this thing came from and how long have we been dealing with it.
I can help you out there, Matt.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've done studies that have looked at the psychological and sociological pet ownership and the stigmas that go with both. As dogs were primarily used not too long ago, they were pets and people loved them, of course, but they had jobs. Right? A dog was bred for a job. Like we have Bernese Mountain Dogs, two of them.
Love them.
Love those dogs.
Oh, you have them.
I have them. Okay. Yeah, two of our dogs are Berners. And they were bred to pull carts, like they had a job. They guarded the farm. They're very brave. Right. And we have a golden retriever, Beaker, and she's a hunter. She's a huntress. So she'll if you had a gun, you shot something, she'd go get it. She's got a huge prey drive. So the stigma with that is that they're very masculine, right? Protection, working. And a cat never had a job because we never domesticated them. Cats just moved in around them to people who lived in the Middle East and saw us as suckers, and they domesticated themselves for food. We never bred them for anything. Of course, we've bred them over time for different coat colors and things like that. Like yours is a tuxedo, right? If I'm remembering right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like tuxedos come from Maine Coon and British Shorthairs. They're a mixture of all of these different Americanized cats. But
I didn't even know that. So a tuxedo pattern is not a mistake.
It's a random genetic pattern from a bunch of other cat breeds. But nobody ever said, "Hey, let's make a tuxedo cat." Probably it was just an error. It was just something that happened.
Oh, okay. So it just happened. Wow.
Yeah, and they're cute.
Okay.
Yeah, like your cat is black and white. Is like it's got that pattern. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Classic tuxedo pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very pretty cats.
Oh, they're the best. Yeah. I'm so struck. A lot of my friends have babies, and I'm just like, it's a cute baby, but it's my cat.
Oh my God. I'm at that point in my life because our kids are so much older, and my colleagues.
Yeah, your kids, I'm sure they're great. They're not cute anymore.
No. And my colleagues are like showing us their babies, and I'm like, I just want to see my dog. So anyways. Hey, Matt, you had a question about you're not worried or maybe concerned that cats have parasites that may make us love them more.
I know somebody told me, but that person may have been an idiot, and I never looked into it, so I thought I would just ask you.
Yeah, so the parasite's called Toxoplasma gondii. It's a real thing. Cats do suffer from it. They generally have not very bad symptoms, so it goes untreated for their whole life. And if they secrete it and they infect mice, for example, in some studies, the mice are less afraid of the cat. So the whole evolutionary reason is mouse is not afraid of the cat. A cat eats the mouse and the life cycle of the parasite continues. And humans can get infected with the parasite. And when we're infected, we have very little symptoms, if any, and there's not any evidence or very little evidence it does anything to us behaviorally with cats. So you're probably okay if you're infected by cat parasite.
Okay, so is there anything bad if I am infected by this cat parasite? Anything at all?
Like some people do feel sick. They feel sick enough that they have an untreated illness, and they go to the doctor.
Not love sick, like sick.
No, yeah, and mild symptoms like nausea, vomiting, whatever.
I understand.
Most people don't even know they have it.
Okay,
you might have it. I might have it.
Continue to go undiagnosed. But I am a hypochondriac, so I'll just be safe and assume I have it.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about with your special coming out, Catman? Is it May 15th? I got that right? May 15th?
It's May 15th, 8 p.m. EST. There's going to be a premiere. I will be live chatting in the live chat when it comes out. If anyone's in Brooklyn, I am doing a watch party, a Catman watch party, where I will be selling my first ever merch, which is a chip clip that's shaped like a paw that says Matt Koff Catman. And I think it's magnetic, so there's a little something for everyone. I hope you check out the special. My God, I wish I were better at promoting myself, but it's a pretty funny special, and it looks pretty good. And
Nice. We'll make sure there's a link to, so if people are listening, we'll have a link to the special in the show notes to the podcast.
Great. Oh, I do have one more thing to plug. Actually,
Yeah, go
fuck
ahead.
it. That's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I will do it. Sorry. And I also have a Substack called Schmuck Mountain, where I post essays sometimes, not too frequently, and also tour dates and things like that.
Nice.
Schmuck Mountain, mattkoff.substack.com. Look at me.
We'll have to
The
subscribe.
plug machine. Oh, please do. Yeah, I think it's pretty amusing. But again, it's subjective.
We have a Substack. We have a Substack as well. I actually really like writing on Substack. It's a good, nice creative outlet.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, we'll definitely follow yours.
So we'll have a link to Schmuck Mountain.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
There you are. Schmuck Mountain, idiotic ramblings from on high.
Yeah. I have a cabin, which is where I started it during COVID, but I still continue it. It used to be about living in a cabin, and now it's about my cat and my comedy.
Okay. Got it. There you are. Cool. Matt, this was a treat to talk to you. I was smiling ear to ear the whole time. So
Thanks. Likewise. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, best wishes with the premiere of your comedy special and comedy writing and stand-up in the future.
Thank you. You too.
That's it for this week's show. Thanks for coming back week after week to listen to the Science Podcast. And a shout out to all the top dogs. That's the top tier of our Patreon community, the Paw Pack. You can sign up in our show notes. All right, Chris, let's hear those names that are part of the top dogs.
Amelia Fettig, Ree Oda, Carol Hanel, Jennifer Challen, Linnea Janik, Karen Cronister, Vicky Otero, Christy Walker, Sarah Bram, Wendy, Diane, Mason and Luke, Helen Chin, Elizabeth Bourgeois, Marianne McNally, Catherine Jordan, Shelley Smith, Laura Stephenson, Tracy Leinbach, Anne Uchida, Heather Burback, Kelly, Tracy Halbert, Ben Rather, Debbie Anderson, Sandy Breimer, Mary Rader, Bianca Hyde, Andrew Lynn, Brenda Clark, Brianne Hawes, Peggy McKeel, Holly Birch, Kathy Zerker, Susan Wagner, and Liz Button.
Let's go adventure in the deep blue